And we love talking about local theater here in Des Moines, Jackie. And there's something coming up that really is getting a lot of steam and getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, one of the hottest tickets in town right now, meaning sold out first weekend. So we're talking about this so you can jump on board and get your tickets that are remaining for the second weekend. We're talking about A Doris Line, the musical, all courtesy of Iowa Stage Theater Company, happening at the Stoner Theater this weekend and next. And we brought the creator of this masterpiece as well as one of the performers, and both of these wonderful gentlemen I've had the pleasure of working with. Robert John Ford, thank you so much for being here. Also Eric Olson, great to see you gentlemen this morning. Robert, your name is synonymous with creating musicals that are very timely with the topics that are happening really much locally on the Iowa front. We've heard you do Caucus the musical many times in various renditions. Now, A Doris Line the musical. What's going on?
Well, Caucus played in Des Moines for every election cycle since 2004, and after 2016, I kind of felt like we've done this. It's been done great. You know, it's time to move on, try to do something different. So I started thinking about some new type of show that we could do for the 2020 caucuses. And as I was working on it, it just dawned on me that the idea that an Iowa voter is kind of auditioning the various candidates that come to the state, well, there's already a musical in place that is very similar to that, and that's A Chorus Line. And so I thought this would be a great parody of A Chorus Line. Instead of a Broadway director auditioning a line of dancers for his Broadway show, it would be an Iowa voter auditioning all the 26 plus Democratic candidates for 2020.
So talk about the passion for this, of wanting every election cycle to write Caucus the musical, now A Doris Line the musical. Why is this such a passion for you? Besides just being a person who loves writing great theater, why this?
Well, I always think that there are a lot of Iowa subjects that are great material for theater, and you know, even when I decided not to do caucus again, I still felt like the Iowa caucus process is very much something ripe for parody and ripe for comedy, and something that I feel like audiences, by the time they get to the end of this year-plus cycle of having every candidate inundating them with, you know, phone calls and mailings and, you know, advertisements, that they just want to sit back and laugh at the process for a few minutes. And so that's what I like to do, is just create a moment where we can kind of step back and just enjoy and laugh at what we've experienced over the past year.
But people have to realize, if you're going to be making something a parody, it's a lot more work than simply just reporting the information.
Thank you.
But it's well worth it, though, isn't it?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. But it's a challenge, because in the past I always had the luxury of, you know, I can just write a song that fits whatever I need to do here. In this case, I wanted to be very true to the original Chorus Line and use all the original music and all the original orchestrations and everything. So then you have to find out, okay, which character is going to sing this song? Which candidate is going to sing this song? Which, you know, how do I order these songs? How do I do so that it's very true?
Because the parody songwriting process is painstaking. It really is, because you'll get a hook, and let's see if this is how you do it. You get a hook, and then you have to build around that hook.
Absolutely, yes. Okay. And so, again, you know, it's just starting with that original score and then trying to just figure out, how is this going to work, given our current candidates, who would be singing what, and what would the subject matter be.
Okay. And you can kind of see here with the dancing that's going on, also playing homage to the dancing from A Chorus Line, the mirrors, the line. You're truly going into an audition. Now, take us through this process really quickly before we get to Eric and talking more about being a cast member. This has been ever evolving. So as a writer, you know, with candidates dropping out or things like that, how were you able to put this together with not really knowing what's going to happen tomorrow?
So I give a lot of credit to Iowa Stage Theater Company, because they took a giant leap of faith with me, because they signed on to do this before there was a script. So they just trusted me to be able to create what they thought would be a good product. So I met with the artistic director, Matt McIver, back in about a year ago, about this time, a little more than, or not quite a year ago. And we were just talking, we were meeting for another reason, and he said, "What are you working on?" And I said, "Well, I have this idea." And he ran with it, ran to his board, said, "We need to do this if we can." And so they signed on to do the show without a script in place, and then the actors auditioned without a script in place, which is, you know, that's another giant leap of faith for actors in this community, because they had no clue really what they were getting into. And so, and that was purposely, was putting off writing the final script until we could get as far into the process as possible, a week or so before we started rehearsals, because it was ever changing. And I just wanted to make sure that we were as up to date as possible. And then once we started rehearsals, once we had cast the show, candidates started to drop out, other candidates jumped in. My initial goal was to try to update it each time to reflect that. And finally I got to a point where, you know what, we're going to set this in October, 100 days before the caucuses, when all the major candidates were still in the race, and I'm not going to deal with who gets in and who gets out at this point.
Wow, that's incredible.
Just include them.
Yeah, right.
So Eric, we want to get to you. You're not playing a candidate. You're playing us, essentially.
I am the audience stand-in in this one. I get to interview everyone, ask the questions that they would hope they'd get to ask the candidate if they had the chance to speak to them one-on-one in this kind of situation, and really help drive the show along. So I also don't sing and dance in this, so that might be the hidden reason that we sold out the first weekend. Oh, thank God. The last thing I want to do is see that guy sing and dance. But, it's been really fun, and Robert talks about the fact that we sort of auditioned without a net, but I mean, Robert's reputation precedes him. Everyone in town knew that this was going to be solid. We were afraid we were going to lose half our cast as people started dropping out of the race as we went, so it was good that we were able to keep up and sort of lock everything in, but it's been a great process.
Absolutely.
I remember when one candidate dropped out, that actor emailed me that morning and said, "Have I been cut from the show?"
Do I no longer have a part?
I said, "No, you're good, you're good."
So how many candidates do we have on stage?
So on stage I should say it in the terms of number of actors, because we have 10 actors that are playing candidates and then one actor playing an Iowa voter. But of those 10 actors, 8 are playing just one candidate only throughout the whole show. 2 other actors are playing all the other 24 some candidates.
You have them all
not 24, but
whatever's left.
we try to include as many of them as we can. So
I think we reference as many candidates were around in October. Maybe they don't all live on stage, but we have some quick changes in this show for sure.
So which was the candidate that you had the hardest time working a song up for?
That's a great question. They all kind of. It was interesting because once I started studying the score, they fell into place very easily. It was for me, it was obvious, like, oh, this is Bernie's song. This is Elizabeth's song. This is, Pete's song. And here in Iowa, of course, we're on first name basis.
Of course you are.
Yes, obviously.
So it really wasn't that difficult, to be honest with you. It fell into place pretty nicely.
To assign names to different songs.
Yeah.
What do you hope people get out of this performance if they're lucky enough to get a ticket? Again, we want to remind everybody, opening weekend, completely sold out. So you want to get your tickets courtesy of Iowa Stage for the second weekend, because it's only running 2 weekends over at the Stoner Theater. What are you hoping people get from this? Besides just a great evening of entertainment, some fun, some parody going along with our caucus, is there a takeaway? Are we learning something from this?
I think so, yes. And we keep talking about it being a musical comedy and just a parody, and those words make you think, oh, we're going to come in and laugh all night. But there's some real poignant moments in this, and there's some moments where a number of people have already said, we've had a few invited guests at previews, and they said, I learned something tonight about this candidate that I never knew.
Because you're taking from things that they actually are saying, or
for the most part, or their personal histories and things like that. And just some other things. One person last night said, I did not know this aspect about the Iowa caucuses. And so I think, people are walking away with some information they may not have had, and there's some very poignant moments in this as well. There's some really reflective moments and that, the candidates are asked not just to talk about their strengths, but about their weaknesses and their regrets and their life stories. And so it's not, it's a real nice blend, just like a chorus line is. It's a character study.
I can't wait.
Now you got me thinking that we're doing Schoolhouse Rock on stage.
Can't wait to see it. There's a huge buzz around town about this. Again, completely sold out for the opening weekend, so you want to get your tickets. And kind of a buzz on a national front as well. You guys have been interviewed. CNN was talking to you.
We have a number that we can't actually reveal who they are until their stories come out. So
some national attention as well.
Multinational.
And even some characters meeting the candidates for real. Lots of fun happening with this production, so you want to make sure and see it. It's directed by Maxwell Schaefer, choreographed by Megan Helmer, some of the best in the business, as well as some incredible performers, and of course, an amazing playwright and musical composer, Robert John Ford. So get your tickets, iowastage.org. I know you're seeing those dates at the beginning. They're sold out, so look at the second dates, because that is when you want to go. Stoner Theater, very reasonable price. Make sure you go see A Doris Line, the musical. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Great to talk to you today.